Hello and welcome to another edition of the In the Money Players podcast. I'm Nahu Mikey P, Mike Pribozie, doing a little harness video this week for the Players podcast. Now, we gave you a little Hambo show last week with PTF. I'm going to host this week's show because we have one of the most prestigious races in Sweden right now going, and it's once every 4 years. So I'm going to bring in Edison Hatter, Thomas Svensen, both experts in Swedish racing. You can just listen to their content on the Harness Players podcast. We give you a lot of shows from Sweden. Edison, huge weekend this weekend in Sweden, going for the Åby World Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, it's kind of our Olympics in some sense, once every 4 years. And actually, I guess since it's starting here in 2024, this will be the first edition of the race. It will line up with the Olympic years. So the next one will be 2028, 2032. It's unique. Obviously, American harness players are familiar with the mile distance all the races are run at, same surface. We're very consistent. This is unique. It's a 5/8 mile track. So it's 1,000 meters, and they're going to race over 3,000 meters in the race. So it's nearly 2 full miles. It'll be a very lengthy race. But Thomas, you can agree, we definitely have 10 of the best horses in the world, really, lined up to go in this race, including the Elite Lop champion, including Sam Matur, who last year was considered by many to be one of the best trotters in the world, and Francesco Zet, who obviously just earlier this year saw an 18-race win streak come to an end.
Yeah, it is the best horses we have in Europe, almost. There is a couple of French horses who is not coming into the race, and we are missing an American horse, but it's a mile, almost 2 miles. They have a double open stretch. It benefits to be close on Åby, but we're going to see maybe the best horse in the world right now, number 7, Horsey Dream, and he is going off as a favorite. The race is almost $1.2 million in purse, so it's the first time there is the biggest race when it comes to purse money in Scandinavia. So I'm looking forward to bet and watch this race.
Like, I think we got to think of it a lot, maybe like the Arc de Triomphe, in the sense that obviously it's a major race, major personal line. It's in Europe. Once in a blue moon, we hopefully will see some U.S. connections into this race. And, even with the Arc, sometimes we'll see some U.S. breeding through the racing. We'll obviously see that on this card a lot on Saturday. But, I think the level of intrigue in this race really can go up in theory if we do get that, Chad Brown, that Bob Baffert, that shipper that comes overseas to this race in the future.
Yeah, and last weekend was the Hambletonian, and that's our top harness race really of the year. It's similar to our Kentucky Derby. And that was a great weekend. And there were horses on that card that might be able to come over here and compete. Horses like Jiggy Jog. That's probably the top trotter in the sport right now. And this is, like we talked about, once every 4 years now, they have this purse that's over $1 million. The idea is to bring the best of the best, because in harness racing, we don't get these big purses that often. Very, very rarely. You have the Yonkers International Trot can go for that amount of money. But over in Scandinavia, not so much. So trying to get the best of the best over there to compete for this big money. It would be great to have U.S. connections over. I mean, we're trying to introduce the Swedish harness racing to our harness players over here, but also our thoroughbred players. And Thomas, I know the betting over there is something that's very different, but I think quite amazing. And I wish we had more of that over here.
Yeah, if the thoroughbred people in America, because they like to go and bet, and they like to bet in big pick 4, big pick 6 pools and stuff like that. And the pick 7 pools we have in Sweden on Saturday on this race here, it's going to be close to I would say between $8 to $10 million in the pick 7 pools. And why shouldn't you? It would be amazing if we can get the American people to join in the pick 7 pools. We will love it in Scandinavia, and the American people will love it.
So this is going to go as race number 11 on an 11-race program. Be the final race of the day at Åby on Saturday. 8:20 a.m. Eastern time is the first post here in the States. It's about 2 in the afternoon over there. Big race will go again at 12:35 p.m. here on the East Coast of the States, which is about 6:30 over there. So good little late afternoon card set up there for the 11 races. And Thomas, so if there's people out there listening, they are probably thoroughbred listeners of this show, or even harness players that aren't familiar with the overseas harness racing. If they handed you $50, you got to go bet for them this race. How would you spend that $50?
I will. It's a good question because Horsey Dream, I think it will go off as a 4 to 5. Maybe I will lock those $50 on Exacta with the Horsey Dream and Sun Motor for a 7-2 in Exacta. I will think I maybe will pay 3-1, 4-1, maybe.
Mike, all right, let's see. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to go 25 to win on Horsey Dream, assuming he's going to have like even money because we're going to get our money back there and take a free roll at some Exactas. We'll take $15 on Horsey Dream, the 7 over the 2 Sun Motor. But then the outsider that I discussed, I like at this longer distance. He's very good at it. Is a 3 high on Pepper. So how about $10 on the 7-3 Exacta? So 7-3, 7-2 for me, 7 on top.
One thing we didn't mention, if you're interested in the Swedish harness racing, the pools are very large. Even the American pools that we're betting into, very large Exacta pools, very large win pools. So if you like something, you're going to get your prices. They also offer trifecta pools that pay very well. So jump in on those exotics. For me, I do believe Horsey Dream's the best horse in the world right now. So he's going to be the favorite. So when you like the favorite, you need to find value other places. We talk that we have a Harness Players podcast that we did segment there. Check that out if you're looking for a deep dive into the race. We're probably, for me, I'm looking to go against Francisco Zet in the second spot. I would probably be looking to beat San Montour out of the second spot also. I know that he's a fantastic horse, but he's just coming back from injury. Now he steps back into the deep end of the pool. He's not going to be value in this race. The inside 2, the 1 and the 2, you have to beat out of the Exacta if you're going to make any money in this race. And that's difficult to do, I think, because of their class. But I would try to play around with other horses in the race, perhaps the 3, the 4, the 5. They're all drawn inside. If the 1 and 2 do not fire in here, I think one of those 3 could get an Exacta spot in here and double open stretch at this racetrack. So what does that mean? Well, if you're used to that inside passing lane, well, they have a double inside passing lane. So lots of intrigue for this race, different setup. If you haven't watched any Swedish harness racing in the past, jump in on Saturday, August 10th, and catch this race.
Yeah, Mike, going back to what you said about the pools, that's a good point. To anybody out there listening, again, a harness player that's not familiar with Swedish racing, a thoroughbred player who wants to get involved, go grab your ADW and take a look. And I'm sure you've seen it before, maybe in the French thoroughbred racing. It's true in the harness racing as well, both in Sweden and France. Grab your phone, look at those ADWs, pull that pools tab up, and just take a look at some of those win pools, those exact pools. They are much larger. I'm just going to let you do it yourself and be amazed yourself to realize how big of pools and how much money you are playing for into these pools when you get involved. And Mike, obviously, we've just given a quick, brief overview here as we wrap up. But the Harness Players podcast this week, we deep dive into this Åby race. There's a lot of evergreen content out there discussing Swedish racing. Obviously, a lot of harness content we've got on our side of the network. So for anybody hopefully intrigued by this little segment, there's plenty of opportunity to listen to us much, much more.
Absolutely. And we'll let Thomas have the last word here. He's definitely an expert in Scandinavian racing. If you're interested in the podcast, listen to what this guy has to say, because he absolutely knows so much about the racing over there, the equipment, the connections. So lots of good things.
Yeah, I'm from Norway, and have very much connection over there. So I know when they do some equipment change. We also know when they pull the shoes, when they need to enter it in Scandinavia. So it's very benefit with all the database we have with the horses. We can look into the video archive. It's for the bettors, so it's easy to have control on the horses, and you can get the information you need.
Well, check out that ATG website. That's SwedishHorseRacing.com. You can jump on there. Lots of odds programs. You can get tons of information. Thanks, guys, for doing this, and enjoy the race Saturday.